All right, another edition of In Today's News with a Nemo De Novo here at Survive Change. So, today we're going to hit XXX Olympics, false flag terror, webbot, and Ebola. Interesting combination to say the least. Well, I will chime in, as so many other people have, about the Olympics. And what more is there really to say about the opening ceremonies? If you haven't seen them for yourself, go take a peek. What they had to do with the Olympics, I have no idea. You know, effigies of dead children, nurses, grim reapers, people jumping on hospital beds, the center attraction spraying stuff out, at least is that what it appears, over the performers. I wouldn't even know where to begin to get into tearing apart the symbology, but we're going to keep this one pretty simple and short, as there's been so much discussion about a false flag event at the Olympics. And a lot of people are looking for big explosions, big death. There's the Rockefeller study that came out that discussed upwards of 13,000 dead at the Olympics. On and on and on. Well, some things from my perspective for everyone to pay attention to. I find it very coincidental that as the Olympics are coming out, we get this story about an Ebola outbreak in Uganda. And the story isn't going away. In fact, it does seem to be gaining some legs, if you will. Even to the point that there's been some AP News, top of the hour blurps discussing this. And one of the more interesting things I found about their discussing of it was that they're saying that this, well, they didn't directly, but they mentioned 21 days incubation period. And without getting into a real deep discussion about different strains of Ebola and incubation periods and contagion periods, very peculiar that they chose to put it as 21 days for the incubation period. And there's still, from everything I've looked at, and I have looked and looked and looked, still can't find patient zero. And that can be a problem. Now, if this is one of the quicker moving strains of Ebola, it will burn itself out pretty quick with containment. But on the opposite side of that equation, if this is one of the strains that can, and this is also providing it's not some engineered virus from some top secret lab, 21 days incubation, you can be contagious through that. There are forms of Ebola that can be aerosolized, that do not rely on a direct contact. So the web bot, Cliff High, that he actually has put a post out discussing that they may be using the Olympics as a dispersal point for a pandemic or plague or something to that effect. It's a tough one to argue with, especially if you have a nice packaged weapon that has a long enough incubation period. These athletes are going to be in high demand when they get home, win, lose, or draw. Parades, interviews, speaking engagements. If I was a malevolent person, it would be a pretty good way to disperse a nasty bug if that was your agenda. Now, whether it will be or not, look, if you found me and listened to me on the radio and follow what I do here on YouTube and with my website, we are so deep into the doo-doo. Anything is possible at this point. Very little makes sense. We truly are in bizarro world on more levels than I could do on a short YouTube segment. Would I rule it out? No. But by the same token, I think we need to pay very close attention to the Ebola story and see where that goes. And if this is a slower moving strain, well, we'll know in 30 to 45 days. It deflects a little bit of the blame from the Olympics. I mean, you have to remove your emotions and your personal attachment to things and kind of think like these people think. They're not like normal people. They're schemers. They're plotters. They don't view human life the way that your average person does. So is it out of the realm of possibility? No, I don't think so. I truly don't. I could see it as a possibility. Would I bet on it as a probability? No. But keep your eyes open. If the Ebola story continues to go, we may need to, be very cautious and think. It's nothing to play with. It's a very serious issue. Now, I do believe there are ways to deal with it, and without getting into a very lengthy medical discussion that is far too long to even begin to get into, it can be dealt with. It can be treated. It can be beaten. Not as good as the common cold, but it is not necessarily the end of everything. So, and then a few other interesting things with the Olympics. The story of the woman in red who just showed up at the with the Indian athletes as they came in. Well, now we're looking at 670 million people in India without power. I find that strange. And then the other story that is bothering is the story of missing keys. Olympic security lost keys, soldier abused, and a lady in red. And what's really wild about some of this is the company that's in charge of security is G4S Security. It's an Israeli-based company. It's in charge of a lot of their prisons. It's been in charge of a lot of other places where some conspiracy theorist would tell you that bad things have happened, but, I've got a saying, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a business plan. So if you want some interesting reading, look into G as in George, 4 S as in Sam, security. A little Googling, you'll pull up some pretty interesting stuff and follow those trails where they go. Just a short one today, subscribe and like. Check out other videos. Definitely hit the website, survivechange.com. And, of course, you can find me every Saturday on Oracle Broadcasting, 3 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. I am Nemo DeNovo checking out. Be safe, be well, look out for yourselves and look out for each other. And most of all, don't just have your eyes open. Have the mind to see. Listen to all, follow none, and think for yourselves. Take care, folks.